guys, my name is Jespi and welcome to the first ever video on my channel. Today I'm going to take you on a little tour of my Animal Crossing island that is inspired by Oslo, Norway. I started this island while I was living in Oslo and I sort of wanted to incorporate all of the really important and special places to me in this island so that by the time that I left I would have all of these memories and this cute little island to go back and play on. However, I sort of abandoned my island a little bit. Like, I haven't played on it for probably over a year at this point, so I thought it would be fun to go through and take a look at what I have accomplished and then maybe roadmap out some ideas for what I plan to do in the upcoming months to finish my island, because I do really want to finish an island. I've never finished an Animal Crossing island before, so hopefully today we'll get some inspiration and it will be exciting to see everything that I accomplished over the last 360 hours of me playing this game. Here we are at the airport of my Oslo themed island, Osloya, which is a word that I made up that combines the city name of Oslo and the Norwegian word for the island, Øya. And also just a little bit of a disclaimer, I am American, so when I'm pronouncing all these Norwegian words, especially the ones that have Norwegian vowels or R's, I'm really bad at Norwegian R's, it's probably going to be a little bad, so if you are Norwegian, please do not judge me. I'm trying my best, and even though I lived in Norway for 2 years, I did not practice speaking enough as I should have. So with that out of the way, I'm just gonna take you on my little tour of Osloya. So right when you leave the airport, you get to my little plaza area. I have a lot of stuff that I've just thrown on the floor. I was in the middle of decorating my island when I kind of stopped playing. I don't know why I stopped playing exactly, because I was like in the thick of decorating. Like, there's a lot of like half-finished projects or things just laid out, you guys will see later, but I just have stuff thrown about, which doesn't make any sense because I literally have a bunch of these storage sheds everywhere. So why is it not just in the storage shed? We'll never know. But this is my plaza area. I did make these cute little trams. Anyone who's been to Oslo will know that the trams there are blue and they're all operated under the company Ruter. And so I have the little hashtag mark that is the symbol for Ruter. I made these tram designs and put little gyroids in the hole openings. So I think that it's super cute. I just have them on this one like little train track and it goes around in a circle. I just have this other one here, and this is meant to be like the main train station hub where all of the public transports, trains, metros go in the center of Oslo, and it's called Jernbanetorget. And at Jernbanetorget there is like this tiger statue, so I figured that it would be cute to put this little statue here, and I just put that here in front of my resident services because this is kind of the main hub of Animal Crossing. So when you come out of the airport, you can sit here and wait for your tram, and then it'll take you to resident services when it arrives because it can only go in one circle this way. Actually, I don't know which way it's supposed to be moving. Are they moving this way or are they moving that way? I don't know. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but I do have a Norwegian flag as my island's flag, which I think was a nice little touch. Moving on from my entrance, we can come over here to the right, and oh my gosh, just so much stuff everywhere. And we have a Kiwi Minipris, which is my favorite Norwegian grocery store. I don't know if it's weird to have a favorite grocery store in Norway, but I just think that this one's the cutest. So I have this little outdoor shopping area, and all of this is just a little like facade to cover my Nook's cranny because Nook's doesn't really match the aesthetic of Oslo. So I just have these little entry points so that even if you're coming from the back of Nook's, you can get in through here rather than having to come all the way around to the front of Kiwi. If only these trees weren't in the way, you'd be able to see a little bit better, but I have this little unloading station with this truck that has like the Kiwi sign that I made on the front. In Norway, they eat a lot of fish. I had a lot of salmon. I don't follow any sort of diet or have any dietary restrictions, but when I was living in Norway, I was pretty much strictly pescatarian because I ate so much salmon. It was just so good and so cheap. Here in the US, like, salmon is so expensive, but in Norway, salmon was like one of the cheapest forms of protein that you could buy, so I ate a lot of it. Next, we're gonna go back over to the left because I don't really have anything else completed over on the right side of my island. So over here, I have Vigelandsparken, which is like a statue park in Norway that just has like a bunch of naked people statues, and I just did what I could with this tiered sort of terraforming with the naked statues that exist in Animal Crossing. It doesn't really look anything like how it looks in person, but this is the best that I could do, and this is such an iconic Oslo feature and park, so I figured it has to be in my island. So here it is. And then over here, I just have this little telephone booth. I saw a few of these in both Oslo and like Bergen, and there were just these telephone booths where the inside of it was like a little library, and it said, "Take a book, give a book" in Norwegian. I just thought that was so cute, and so I put some on my island and I made this little sign. Then if we come around here, this is supposed to be a part of Oslo called Frogner, which is kind of more like a rich, posh area of the city, and so I sort of made these like really nice looking apartments with the bunk bed and simple panel hack. And I have two villagers that live up here, but I have Raymond and then I have Miss Olivia, which I love. The vibes of these villagers and the personalities, they are smug and snooty villagers. It just kind of fit that like posh, rich aesthetic, and I love these villagers so much. But also with that, I think that it would be a good time to show you my little lineup for who I actually have on my island, because I actually have every single one of my dreamies for this island already done. No villager hunting needs to be had. I've spent countless hours already hunting for all of these villagers, so unfortunately no villager hunting videos for this island will be coming ever. Yeah, let's just take a quick look at my map and see who I have here. I have Marshall, who also lives in Frogner. I have Molly, Roald, Aurora, Felicity, Axel, Raymond, Eric, Marty, and Olivia. So moving on, I will show you Marshall's house because he also technically lives in this sort of like Frogner, Vigelandsparken area, and his house also has that bunk bed and simple panel thing going on. I have not completed Happy Home yet, so I haven't been able to change the outsides of my villagers' houses, but once that happens, I will be setting his house to kind of blend in a little bit better with the simple panels that I have chosen. Next, we have one of my favorite parts of the island, which is my Sognsvann Lake, which this is a little overgrown right here. The flowers are overgrowing and there's weeds, but I have this lake here that has like a couple cute little custom codes and seating areas, and it's based off of an actual lake that I used to live next to. One of the main student housing options when I was living in Oslo was right next to Sognsvann, and I went on walks there every single day, so it was a very, very important and special place to me. So my campsite is also here because I just thought it was fitting. Little campfires, little gyroids, lost book. I wish there was a campsite villager here because I think that this looks a lot cuter when there's actually a tent, but I've given them just a couple of cute things to do. Ride a bike, cook. I have this little like clothes drying station and another storage shed, so I really have no excuses for everything that's just strewn about my island. But the actual lake is up these stairs, and this is like the little walking path that's sort of around the lake. It just goes all the way around in a circle. There's this little fishing area, there's a couple of benches, lots of trees, bird houses, these leaf piles. But let me just show you my map again, because I actually terraformed this lake to look exactly like the real Sognsvann Lake in Oslo. So I'll show you like a side by side, but it's kind of like this little like bean. This river is actually also terraformed from a little snippet of a river that runs through Oslo. So now coming down from Sognsvann, we actually arrive at my house, and there's just trees everywhere. So sorry, it's kind of blocking everything, but these are all like my money trees that grew and then I never chopped them down. But I have my house here. Don't know how I'm gonna decorate it or the outside, so there's nothing really to see on the inside, probably just a bunch of roaches. But I placed my house where I did because when I lived in Oslo, I lived in 2 different apartments, and the first year that I lived there, I lived next to Sognsvann, and the other year I lived next to the botanical garden in Grünerløkka, which is going to be over here across this bridge, so we will get to that. But first I'm going to show you what's south of my house. So when we come down here, I have this like mock-up of like the idea that I had of what to do here. As you can see, things aren't really colored properly and not all the items that I need are here, but I have things placed down as sort of a placeholder so that I don't forget what I was planning on doing here. So like over here, little cafe, here little bakery, a little sushi shop, and I don't know what this is going to be, and everything is subject to change. But basically this is supposed to be a like cafeteria called Oslo Street Food, that is a restaurant in Oslo that me and my friends went to a lot, and they just have a ton of different kinds of food. So that's kind of what this is meant to be. And there's actually a really cute view from right by Olivia and Raymond's house. Let me get there. And when you come up here, you can just sort of see like a little overlook of the cafe and the bakery, and I think it's so cute. And once everything is recolored and I actually have the proper furniture all placed down, I think it's going to be such a cute area. But this is one of my work in progresses that I need to finish and will be in an upcoming video. So also right next to Oslo Street Food, I have this building over here. Oh, hi Axel. This building is meant to be a library that was by my apartment when I lived in Grünerløkka called Deichman. I haven't actually finished it. I just sort of have like the structure and the base outlining, but I want to have some like custom codes in there and books and stuff to make it look like it's an actual library and not just like a big white like Apple Store box. I don't know what's going on here, but actually if you come over here, this is Aurora's house, which I think is so cute because she loves books and reading, and the interior of her house is actually sort of decorated like a library already. But once I finished Happy Home, I was kind of planning on redecorating the inside of her house to be an actual library. Oh, I'm completely mistaken. Aurora's house does not look like a library at all. It is indeed Penguin House. So sorry, girl. I will leave now. So I just completely made that up in my head, probably because I have a vision of what I want her house to look like once I finish Happy Home and redecorate all my villagers' houses. So that's up there right by the library. On the outside of it, there were a bunch of ping pong tables, and you would just see a bunch of people playing ping pong outside of the library, and it was super cute and fun. I just have a little ode to the ping pong tables right outside of the library. And now before we cross over that bridge that was by my house to go see Grünerløkka, I'm going to show you a view that's from over here. Basically, one of the student housing options in Oslo is this old silo that was converted into a bunch of apartments. So all the apartments are rounded and they all have rounded walls and custom built furniture to be able to fit these walls. And I wanted to make my own silo area. Oh my gosh, this tree. Let me just chop it down really quick. 1 second. But anyway, this is my best attempt at making the silo. I think it's pretty good. Like, I think that it's a relatively accurate representation of what it looks like in Animal Crossing version. So with that view being shown off, let's just make our way back up to my house and cross over that bridge so I can show you the rest of Grünerløkka, which was my favorite place to live. It was like the hip, cool area. So when you cross over the bridge and you come over here to these staircases, this is the top of the silo. So these are the 2 villagers that I have living up top of the silo. I believe that this is Axel. Yeah, so that would make this Roald's house, and I just have them as my 2 villagers that live up here. In my head, they are best friends. They both are jock villager types, and they're both blue, and they have kind of matching houses actually. Coming up here, we have Marty's house, which actually when I chose Marty to be the villager that would live up here in this area, I didn't know that you could only get him via amiibo. So I had to buy the Sanrio amiibo pack in order to get him because I was dead set on having Marty, and I managed to get it for only like $5 from Target, and it was shipped to my house the next day. But I wanted Marty because in Grünerløkka there's this area called Vulkan, and in Vulkan there is an art store, and Marty is sort of like artsy, and he even has the word art in his name. And so I kind of wanted to make the torso art store outside of his house, and that would be like how I decorate his yard. And I thought that it would be super cute to maybe do like, if you've seen those like gyroid painting class builds that people do, I thought it would be so cute. Like Marty's a little art teacher and he's teaching little painting classes to the gyroids. I really want to do that, so that's the plan for up here, but as you can see, there's not really anything done with that. And if we come up here, we have the botanical garden that I was talking about earlier that I used to live next to in Grünerløkka, and I have it laid out like this. I might change it actually. I have this rock garden up here, and then I just have a bunch of like bug and fish models all about, and then I also just have all of my fruit trees over here next to Eric's house, which Eric is a reindeer, and his name is even spelled very Norwegian-like with a K at the end, so I just thought that he was absolutely perfect, and I just put him in the botanical garden because I thought that was super cute. And then my absolute like favorite area in the entire island is Molly's yard. Molly's the only villager on my island that has a decorated yard at this point, and I just kind of made her sort of like a little garden area so she can farm. She's got a little harvest basket. She's got this little planter box and a greenhouse, and she also has this pretty waterfall outside of her house. So I absolutely love her house, but I have yet to decorate any of my other villagers' yards. I guess you could say Eric's is decorated because he lives in the botanical garden. And then in my little story in my head, Eric is sort of the groundskeeper for the botanical garden. And depending on how I'm feeling when I get around to decorating the villagers' houses, I might actually make his house an exhibit. And then leaving the botanical garden, we come down here, and we have Felicity's house and Able Sisters. I kind of want to connect the two buildings in some way, and I tried out a couple of things, but I didn't really like any of it. But one of Felicity's likes is fashion, so I figured that she could be like a little seamstress that works with Able Sisters. But then down here I have this little fountain area, and this is just the silo, so this is the front of it. And then over here I saw a little building tutorial on TikTok a while ago for a little shopping alleyway area. Oh my god, ignore my flower beach. Oh, I didn't even remember I had that, because on the east side of Oslo there's this area called Grunland, and it just has like all of these markets that sell a bunch of cheap produce. Like, it's the place to go if you want cheap produce. So I was kind of trying to just lay out the items that I had that were part of the tutorial. So these little bus stops and those storefronts. I don't have any of my beaches decorated, but this entire right side of my island's beach I was planning on turning into this little like pier area called Ekkerbrygge. I'm kind of just planning on decorating it with like boats everywhere, because you can take ferries through the Oslo fjord to get to these little islands that are sort of off of Oslo's main coast, and you can do little hikes there and whatnot. There's also shops and places to buy ice cream, so I want to have an ice cream stand, going to Ekkerbrygge with my friends and getting a little ice cream, and then just walking up and down the pier, and then maybe taking a little ferry to an island for a hike. It was such a beautiful and lovely time. And then over here I sort of have an ode to the ferries. So with the cabin tours, I'm kind of pretending like the cabin tours are a little ferry that take you along the Oslo fjord to one of like the little surrounding islands, and you can take a little hike and just enjoy nature. Oh my gosh, girl, please. I don't know, can we? No. Okay, I had to read that like 8 times just to make sure I was clicking the proper answer. Okay. Perfect. In this area of Oslo is the Nobel Peace Center, and I was planning on kind of decorating this to be the Nobel Peace Center rather than just an Animal Crossing museum. So that is essentially my entire island. One of the reasons I wanted to make this video was to hold myself accountable and also inspire myself to finish all of these sections. I obviously have ideas for every single unfinished section in my island, but I just kind of lost the motivation and inspiration to actually finish them off. And I'm so excited to take you guys along on this journey, because now I'm doing this for someone other than myself. And even if there's only like one of you guys watching that are looking to see how this island turns out, that should be enough motivation for me to actually follow through and finish this island. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. It was really fun getting to show you guys this island that I worked so hard on, and even though it's not finished, I'm so excited to bring you guys along with me while I finish the rest of it. I'm sorry that this video was a bit informative and explained a lot about how the city of Oslo is, so hopefully it didn't feel too much like a geography lesson, but I think Oslo is a really cool city. I had a lot of fun living there, and so if you've been to Oslo, let me know in the comments, and let me know which of the builds I told you about you're most excited to see. I think that I'll start with the Oslo street food video, and that will be coming out next week, but I guess we'll see what ends up happening. And with that, the video is over, so I would just like to thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you had a really good time, and I'll see you guys in another one next week. Bye! I just realized that for that entire video, I was essentially in 2 p.m. music, and I'm so sorry. I'm like considering re-recording the entire thing because I just don't want to have to put you guys through that.